former President Donald Trump's hush money New York trial. I'm quite sure the fireworks did fly. Here's what you missed on the very first day. I'm Tyrone Bowman. This is Tyrone Bowman Tonight. According to NBC News, Donald Trump, now a former president on trial, has sought to turn his legal peril into a boost for his presidential campaign, animating his supporters and attempting to sow doubt about the motives of his opponents. But facing 34 counts of felony charges, Trump argued on the historic first day of his New York hush money trial that he is a victim of a criminal justice system weaponized against him. He called it, quote, an assault, close quote, on the nation. And as the presumptive Republican nominee for president repeatedly attacked the prosecution for waging, quote, election interference, close quote. It is, quote, why I'm very proud to be here, close quote, Trump said. The former president intends to be involved at every level to the extent possible, from court conferences to the jury selection process, his defense attorney Todd Blanche said. President Trump wants to be present at everything, said Blanche. For much of the day, Trump was seated at the defense table, flanked by his attorneys. At times, his voice could be heard in the back of the courtroom, though not what he was saying. Other moments saw Trump shut his eyes, drawing speculation about whether he was still awake or lost in sight. Here's what happened during Monday's proceedings. About 500 New Yorkers arrived for day one of Trump's criminal trial over hush money payments, for a process that will take 2 days and could take weeks, as the court works to weed out jurors who could be swayed by strong biases or stealth jurors who may be hiding theirs. Questions like, are you or have you ever been a member of groups like the Oath Keepers or 3%ers? Another far-right group are used to narrow the poll. Other questions say about a prospective juror's hobbies or educational background, or a less overtly political way to gauge a juror's potential fairness. By the time the judge presiding over the case, Juan Merchant, said he was ready to begin jury selection, about 200 Manhattanites were in the courtroom waiting to find out if they would be selected. Trump was seated at the defense table as the first batch of 96 jurors were brought into the courtroom, filling the pews behind him. Their names and those of any other prospective jurors must be kept secret, except to the defense and prosecution. Speaking to his lawyer, Trump gestured with his hands as Merchant discussed the handling of jury pool names. The defense and prosecution each received a copy of the potential jurors' names, which Merchant has said cannot in any way be duplicated and must be returned to the court. They also receive a copy of juror numbers. It can be an intimidating process. More than half of prospective jurors from the first batch of 96, at least 50, were excused after saying they could not be fair and impartial. A further 9 were excused when asked by the judge if there were other reasons for which they could not serve. Half of the remaining pool of about 34 were called to start voir dire, where they would be queried by both parties, including on their media consumption habits. Trump appeared to track the process closely, reading along as it got underway. Trump allegedly told his former attorney and fixer Michael Cohen to send a porn star Stormy Daniels hush money during his run for president in 2016, and claim he is now at the center of the charges in the case. Prosecutors say that was part of a scheme to suppress negative stories about Trump in the lead up to Election Day, which they argue should be charged as election interference. Trump has denied the charges, but prosecutors say he is going after those he claims are attacking him, including key witnesses in the case, and has made this a tactic. The defendant himself has publicly embraced the public strategy of going after his perceived enemies, prosecutor Joshua Steinglass said. Defending Trump, Blanche said the former president is the one facing attack by witnesses against him. He is responding to salacious, repeated, vehement attacks by these witnesses, Blanche said. Inside the courtroom, large monitors showed a closed-circuit feed of the judge, defense, and prosecution tables. In court, Merchant read through a list of possible witnesses name-checking members of Trump's family, including his children. I'm not going to name his children out of respect to the former president. Trump, who must be in the courtroom for every day of his criminal trial, has decried the case as a persecution like never before. And on Monday, while standing outside the courtroom, argued that it constitutes an attack on a political opponent. Merchant warned Trump that he risks jail time if he disrupts the trial, which will continue in his absence. Already, prosecutors are seeking to impose thousands of dollars in fines for 3 alleged violations of a gag order, including this morning. If he fails to show up, a warrant could be issued for his arrest. Pardon me, I'm sorry, y'all. I got so much on my mind from studying. If he fails to show up, a warrant could be issued for his arrest, an obligation that his campaign lambasted as banana republic tactics. It is a case that should never have been brought, Trump said. I'll conclude by reading this right here. The trial could drag on for weeks, rerouting to New York a presidential campaign that otherwise could be making overtures to voters in some of the states Trump will need to win in November. I'm Tyrone Bowman. Never surrender, never quit.